So I'm back, everybody. I took a couple of months off of doing this whole YouTube shindig to try and at least take care of myself and work on my mental health, so to speak. And furthermore, anybody who does have any mental health issues, take care of yourself. Fill your cup before you try and fill someone else's or fill other people's. Take care of oneself before you take care of others, because if you don't take care of yourself, how can you take care of other people to the best of your ability? Or do anything to the best of your ability, for that matter. But regardless of that, I watched the Nintendo Direct the other day, and I'm quite pleased with everything I saw. And I wanted to go through what I am probably going to pick up, or what I was at least intrigued by, and not at least go through everything. So if you did want to see everything in the Direct, if you didn't already see everything in the Direct, just go check out that video. I'll throw the link down in the bio below. But the first thing that I saw on there that I was at least intrigued by was the Samba de Amigo game. I never played any of the previous ones that were like on the Wii or GameCube, because I missed out on those generations, because the last Nintendo console I had before my Switch was my N64. So a lot of those games like Twilight Princess or any of the Samba de Amigos, or like, I don't know, Donkey Kong Country or Donkey Konga, which actually this game actually reminded me of the game with the bongo where you like tap one side or you like clap or whatever and you control Donkey Kong, but not as obviously platformer oriented, more like a Guitar Hero or a Rock Band oriented kind of game where you like move the Joy-Cons in like one direction rhythmically to like the songs and stuff, which I thought it looked pretty fun. I mean, I could see myself playing it a bit because I love a good rhythm game. Second game that I saw come out was the Fashion Dreamer game, which was like a dress-up game, kind of like, looks like Animal Crossing, but without the whole island aesthetic, where you're instead making outfits and posting them, and people that like them, you can save other people's, and you unlock new outfits and change the colors and all that stuff of them, and like actually make your character cute, which personally, I feel like the Switch has been missing a really good dress-up game. Not really for me. My wife, I know, has definitely been wanting one, and there's been like a few here or there, like the Bratz game, which was not really what we wanted it to be, or Disney Dreamlight Valley, which is a great game, but it's not as like dress-up oriented, more as it's like, you know, taking care of like the village and like unlocking stuff, more like a progressing Animal Crossing. But I thought it looked super cute, and if it pans out to be everything that I'm hoping it will be, I feel like it'll be a much needed addition to the Switch, so that'll probably be something that we pick up. Next past that was the Dead Cells Castlevania collaboration, which to me, not playing Dead Cells yet, well, I shouldn't say that, I've dabbled in it. I haven't actually played or beaten Dead Cells. I have it on Game Pass, so it's like I dip my toes in it. But the DLC coming out really has me intrigued. Like, I genuinely would pick it back up just to get through it and try and crack into that, because Castlevania is awesome. And seeing the similar game style or gameplay mechanics being both like heavy platformer Metroidvania, obviously Castlevania being half the name of Metroidvania. Anyways, I could see the collaboration being really, really cool and very, again, I didn't know I wanted it, but now I do kind of collaboration. Past that, the Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon looked really, really cool also. And that's something that wasn't like brand spanking new to me, because they've kind of released some trailers. Seeing some more gameplay getting shown about it, and like how the buffing style of gameplay that Cereza will be using, and Cheshire being more of like the attack dominant party member. It seems like a very unique spin on Bayonetta, one that I'm really intrigued for the backstory, because I mean, if you played Bayonetta 3, you probably want some more Bayonetta in your life, but that's beside the point. As well as the whole, you know, lore building aspect of it, and really painting more of a backstory to a really, really well curated arc and story that Bayonetta has, that again, I just find myself wanting to know more about it. And only having the 3 games, I feel like it's going to be a really nice addition. But anyways, Cereza and the Lost Demon is definitely something we are going to be picking up. I thought the Splatoon 3 DLC was a nice feature as well. The fact that they actually have some of the DLC already rolling out. I didn't like how vague the Nintendo Direct's information was about it until I did a little bit of research and found out that the second piece of DLC that they're going to be showing, the Octoling challenges or whatever, I think that the challenges will be kind of fun and neat to try, as well as I thought that the new area to hang out in looked super dope. With the little sisters doing the little concerts during Splatfest. I think that is an awesome feature and addition that would be really fun to check out. I haven't played Splatoon 3. I have one of my best friends that plays it all the time. Shout out to Paul. I love you, buddy. But I know that it should be pretty dope, and I've been wanting to pick up Splatoon 3, and I think that this might be a good time to do so. Or at least before the next Splatfest, since they just announced the new teams. But I digress. Disney Illusion Island looks sweet. I find myself needing more 4-player games in my life for whenever I have like a couple of friends over. And it looks like it's going to be a really fun platformer. You get to pick your character, either like, I think it was Mickey, Minnie, Donald, or Goofy, and they each kind of have their own special kind of moves that they do. And it looks really cute. I love the art style. I think the aesthetic of the game looks very pleasing to the eye, and I could see myself putting in quite a few hours joyously with that game. So that is something that I'm most definitely going to be wish listing and then probably picking up. Ideally on a good sale, but I could see it being pretty reasonably priced at drop. So we'll see what happens. Oh, dude. Then there was the Fire Emblem DLC, and that actually looked very intriguing. I just got it for my wife, and I know she's been loving the little bit of it that she's cracked into. And the whole emblems having different worlds that they're coming from is just really nice and a cool callback to any of the other Fire Emblem games for any of the characters that you do know and love. And the fact that they're already adding more characters, new side missions, and another arc into the game to play, I think is really cool. Granted, obviously, like Wave 3 and 4 are coming later in the year. Fire Emblem's dope, though. So another game that they showed off in the Direct that I feel like should have already been on the Switch was the Katamari remaster or re-roll or whatever they're trying to call it. That has both the first and second game, I think, in the same game. Regardless, it's a very fun game. Very addicting. Very easy to play, very hard to master. And I didn't know about it for like the longest time because it came out on the GameCube. And like I said, I didn't get any of the Wii U, GameCube, or Wii games, and it's a lot of fun. Once you figure out how to play it and the whole like timed component of it with essentially you're rolling up balls that become stars of all sorts of stuff. Like you start from like tiny little candies and thumbtacks and paper clips and stuff that you're rolling up, then eventually rolling up animals and then people and buildings, and it just goes nuts. It's fun, it's weird, it's wacky. It doesn't take itself seriously until it wants to, and then it like breaks your like complete emotional facade. It's a good game series. And honestly, again, until I saw it in the Direct, it's like, oh yeah, that's not on this yet. Especially being such a Japanese classic game, I just, again, was kind of dumbfounded that it wasn't already on the Switch, but I'm glad that it's coming, especially in a nice 2-pack, all fancied, and with new stuff. Like, you get to play as the King of the Cosmos when he was younger, who's essentially the little green guy that you play as that's rolling up the ball's dad. And it's completely new. Like, I mean, what's not to love? Katamari is definitely going to be something that I'm going to pick up. Oh, just past that, they were showing off the Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color emulators that they're going to bring forward, which I think is a really cool new addition. I mean, I like that they've kept the emulator thing going, and the fact that it's an actual dedicated service that Nintendo's offering, like, legitimately. Like, you don't have to be a pirate for stuff anymore, that you, like, want to play classic games that you don't have. Like, I saw several in the little clip thing that they ran for all the games that they were bringing with, like Link's Awakening or Minish Cap. I loved Minish Cap, and I was like, I don't know, in 4th grade when I played that game, so I never got to beat it because I didn't know what the heck to do, you know? So the fact that they're continuing to bring out all these emulations, I think is a really, really nice thing that Nintendo should keep running. But I also hope that they keep supporting the like N64 emulator and stuff like that, and keep bringing more games to those as well. Because again, I think it's a wonderful concept that if Nintendo does it right, they could cash in on a huge retro market. But that's just my thoughts in a nutshell. But again, I think that they're a really great addition. The biggest thing for me personally was actually Metroid Prime Remastered. And I never again got to play this game. I got to like demo it in like a Target once when I was like living in Illinois when I was little. But that was like it. And it seems like with the additions that they've, you know, modernized with it, you know, the dual stick control and all of the updated graphics, it really seems like that this is going to be the best version. And I know that most people are going to be like, oh no, the classic, that's it, no contest, like get out of here. But like, I'm a big first person shooter kind of guy, and knowing the GameCube's control style, I don't know if I could have been about it with the lack of actual 2-stick input, but that's just me. Regardless of it, I'm extremely excited to pick up Metroid Prime, and the fact that it's already out digitally is extremely cool. I personally have been kind of like over the whole waiting thing of all of these games for like my PS5 or the Xbox Series that are coming out, and it's like, I just want them here already. And the fact that it's like, here's this dope game that we already have, and you can literally pick it up today was a wonderful thing for me. But I'm kind of a physical king because my wife's got me into being a physical king, so I'm probably going to wait to play it until it comes out physically. I also still have a huge backlog that I've been working through, which I've finally beaten some of my GTAs, the older ones, but still, I don't need to put more on my plate than I already have. Just past that, the World Detective archives look really cool. It's made by the people that made Danganronpa, which I think its art style and the whole wacky, crazy story that goes along with it is a very unique manga game, anime, whichever way you consume it. And knowing that the creators make more content, I'm very intrigued by it, especially since it's more of a 3D open world rather than like a visual novel kind of setup. I think it'll be really, really neat to try out. And I had never heard of it. My wife had, because she has a finger on the pulse of this kind of stuff and I don't. But I think it'll be really, really interesting to check out. And I can't wait to see it. So that's something that's most definitely going to be being picked up in my house. If not for me, definitely for her. And then it was nice to see the new Mario Kart 8 tracks that they were showing off. I've personally been loving the DLC that they released for it. I feel like I could keep playing Mario Kart 8, honestly, if they just kept dropping more tracks like they have been. The only other thing that I could see them doing better is like if they somehow made Double Dash like a thing, or made Mario Kart 9 a Double Dash, and then just kept it going from there. But honestly, I'm not losing sleep over it. I mean, it's new tracks, adds more replayability, and for a party game, it's a great choice. So I can't wait to pick those up. And personally, I like the Nintendo Plus option with the fact that it comes with, but I would almost even pick those up as their own because they're fun. I've gotten to play them with my buddy, because I don't personally own them, but every single track that I have played, even the ones that, like, from the N64 that I thought I was going to hate, tweaked and twisted them enough that they're honestly a blast. Like the Choco Mountain one from the N64, hated that track. But, you know, put it on the Switch and add some updated graphics, put some boxes in some new areas, and throw a bunch more people on the track, it's a blast. I honestly love every bit of it. So those are something that I'm definitely eager to have come out, even if I do pick them up. Which, again, once they all come out, Past that was the Tears of the Kingdom gameplay that they showed off for the new Zelda. Oh man, if it wasn't Metroid Prime, it was probably this because of all the new stuff that they were showing off with like the whole bit with the car, or like the fact that Link was on some sort of like thing flying, and it just looks so cool, and it looked like every sweet mod that you can think to try and throw in Breath of the Wild, but better. And I just cannot wait for Tears of the Kingdom to come out, especially with the whole more serious kind of demeanor that it seems like it's gonna have, and the whole ambiance of the trailer, and it looks like Zelda's gonna die. It just looks like it's gonna have that more mature kind of gripping story that's gonna like tear out your heart and put it on the controller in front of you, and I genuinely cannot wait for that, because Breath of the Wild was probably one of my favorite Zeldas that I've ever played in my life. I put in like over like 130 hours into it, and that's barely scraping the surface. Like, I didn't even do half the crap that I could have in that game, and I feel like that this might even make me go back and try and do more before it comes out, because it just looks like it's gonna be so dang good. I cannot wait. But that was everything that was in the direct. Again, or at least everything that I thought was good in the direct. There were a few other like puzzle games and stuff like that that looked interesting, and I'm sure for somebody they were a great feature. I know a few of the games that I didn't mention my wife is looking forward to. The reason I keep pointing that way is because she's actually just chilling over there. But that's beside the point. So again, that's everything I was interested in. A lot of good games were shown. A lot of good content was shown. I feel like that the directs that they've been doing have been actually really good. They've been on par with what's coming out. They keep me interested in the stuff that's coming, like Zelda, and stuff that I don't even know is under wraps, just catching me straight out of left field, like this whole Metroid Prime reboot. But seeing the rest of them come out would be a really cool thing, especially with Metroid Prime 4 coming on its heel. I'm really stoked about everything coming out. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, and if by some reason you stumbled onto this video and you haven't seen me before, feel free to like the video, and if you really liked me, be the biggest thing in the world to hit that subscribe button and hit that little bell too, because that would be pro as heck. Anyways, that's all I gotta say. Stay tuned for more content. I love you guys, and have a good day.